to start this all over.
Okay,
Welcome to today's session. We appreciate you being here and your patience, by the way. So our today's session is Empowering Children for Personal Safety. My name is Jane Estes. I'm the Knowledge and Development Manager for ISPCAN and the moderator for today's session, and somewhat unsuccessfully so far. And our presenters, Pooja Tapahara, and who's the founder and chief executive of Arpan, and Neha Sharma, Communications and Extension at Arpan. Some tips for making the most of today's session. Please just engage with us. As you can tell, this is a casual learning environment. As you listen to the presentations, if you could make note of your questions and comments to share in the open dialogue part of the session, or add them to the chat box during the session. Both the presenters and our ISPCAN team will be monitoring the chat. Please take a moment to introduce yourself, which many of you have done and is so appreciated. We would love for you to participate in our live polling. So as I'd mentioned before, if you could have your cell phones available to scan a QR code for the poll, that will be happening during the session. And also, again, just know that a recording of this panel discussion, all the presentation slides, all the links will be shared with you directly in an email format as a follow-up after today's session. So our goals for today's sessions. So we just want to highlight Arpan's amazing free online courses for children, adolescents, and adults. We want to share the journey from conducting offline sessions to building online digital content, and to provide resources that equip professionals and caregivers to facilitate these online courses. And now, if you'd like to take this barcode and scan it on your phones, we will start our polling. And the first question that we would like you to participate in is, what country are you joining us from today? And as our participants answer the questions, the answer slide on the screen, and the bigger the word, then that is the more responses that came with that particular word. So welcome, everyone. We have such a great representation. We have the Cayman Islands. We have Taiwan, Poland, Lebanon, Iceland, Turkey, the UK. Welcome everyone from the Philippines, South Africa, from Canada, Myanmar, Sabah, Malaysia, Japan, Australia, Poland, Armenia, Wales. What a great representation of the world. What a great global impact for Arpan and for your resources.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Jane. I think it's so exciting to see so many of us from different parts of the world. Really glad.
And then our next question, we're curious about you as well. Like what is the profession or discipline that you're representing today? You know, whether that's teachers, social workers, pediatricians, legal, coaches. Child advocates, a very large NGO representation, policy advocacy, therapist, clinical psychologists, counselors, pediatric medicine, public health, students and safeguarding officers, private practice, humanitarian workers, child welfare professionals, academics, program managers, funding officers, we have representation from the United Nations here. Thank you for joining us. Pooja and Neha, what an amazing multidisciplinary audience that you have for your resources. And it shows for the demand and the excitement around what you've done and the quality of the materials you have, that all of these different disciplines would join us today.
Very true, Jane. Very exciting. And I hope it'll be a session that everybody enjoys. Thank you, everybody, once again for joining in.
And thank you for participating in the poll. I hope even as an audience member that you find it fascinating, the regions represented and the disciplines represented. It really is, speaks to the collective need for all of us to protect the world's children. So at this point, I would like to introduce our amazing presenters. Pooja Taparia, founder and chief executive of Arpan. Arpan is a globally recognized, award-winning NGO working towards the elimination of child sexual abuse in India. Based in Mumbai, Arpan is India's largest NGO, providing CSA prevention and intervention services for both children and adults. As a leader, Pooja embodies the spirit of modern-day social entrepreneur and has grown Arpan from a 3-person startup into a global thought leader in the CSA space, with innovative impact models that work with a range of stakeholders, from children and parents to state bodies and teachers. Since 2007, Pooja has led Arpan to impact over 2.5 million children and adults. That number is staggering, and received 6 national and 2 international awards, including the C. Henry Kemp Award by ISPCAN and the WISE Award by the Cutter Foundation for exemplary work. And then Dr. Neha Sharma, who's a PhD in development and communication and extension manager for Arpan. Dr. Sharma has over 10 years of experience in the development sector. She's been part of various health and gender-based research studies. She's a life skills trainer and a former associate professor in Delhi University. She's been working with Arpan for the last 5 years, where she actively facilitates trainings and contributes to developing content. Thank you to both of you for joining us today. And at this point, I would love to turn the presentation over to you.
Thank you so much, Jane, and a warm welcome once again, recognizing that these are different time zones for everybody. What we'll aim to do is, everybody, that we'll aim to finish our presentation by over the next 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes, so that we have a good 30 minutes for question and answers, because we would love to engage with you. We'll begin by showing you a short video on Arpan, and we'll then head into the presentation. That was just a short profile video of Arpan as an organization so that you get an overview of what work do we do. I'm, of course, going to speak a little more about our programs as we begin this presentation. You saw the vision and the mission in the videos. I'm not going to repeat myself, but we would love to see a world where no child is sexually abused. It's not acceptable that any child goes through sexual abuse. So we exist to make that a reality. We have 3 programs which are our focus areas. The PSE program that you see as an abbreviation is the Personal Safety Education Program, which focuses on empowering children with personal safety skills so that they can participate in their safety, recognize unsafe situations and touches, and seek help from a trusting adult. We also train parents and teachers through the program and provide critical healing support to children who've experienced abuse or any inappropriate behavior. I'll go more into the detail of the program in a couple of minutes. To scale and replicate the personal safety education program, we train stakeholders pan-India, primarily teachers, social workers, through NGOs, schools, and with partnerships, large-scale partnerships, I would say, with the government at the state and national level. We also train counselors pan-India so that they can provide the appropriate healing that's required to victims and survivors of sexual abuse. Over the last 4 to 5 years, we've tried to convert our lesson plan experience in the classroom into digital content so that we can reach children across the world with standardized messaging on personal safety education. We also have 2 activities. One, mental health services that focuses on providing therapy to adult survivors of sexual abuse, also children who get referred to us outside of our school program, and the calls come on our helpline. We're also doing some interesting work with restorative justice this year. And over the last 2 to 3 years, we've also been working with children in conflict with law, that is young offenders in an institutional setup. So that's some really, really exciting work that we are hoping to learn from and develop models out of in the future as well. And the other activity, of course, is to continuously raise public awareness so that as many people know about the issue of child sexual abuse, more vigilant that we are as a society, we can better protect children from sexual abuse. And all our programs and activities are supported by a fantastic team. The entire team is fantastic. And then we have communications, content and curriculum, support operations, research, monitoring and evaluation, full-fledged teams and fundraising within Arpan. And collectively, we make all of this happen. So personal safety education is a school-based education model, life skills content that we implement in the classroom with 4 to 6 lesson plans with children across grade 1 to 10. And we also work with teachers and parents so that they understand the skills required, they have the adequate knowledge to understand the issue of child sexual abuse and appropriately handle disclosures if children come and talk to them. The program mission focuses on 3 key things. 1, every child has the right to feel safe. All adults have the responsibility to protect children because the onus of protecting lies on the adults. Children can only participate in their safety. Create safe spaces for disclosure. We believe that's very, very critical. And provide the healing that's required so that the impact of abuse can be reduced and children lead trauma-free lives that they absolutely deserve and have a right to. We also work towards the risk reduction that the child does not get re-victimized again by creating safety plans with the child, with the family. Of course, the program also helps in reducing the risk of some of these children growing up to become young offenders or demonstrate inappropriate sexual behavior. There's, of course, the tertiary and secondary level of prevention that focuses on healing and providing the support that's required. Wherever the families want to report the cases, we help them report them to the police, the child welfare committee, and make sure they feel really supported through it. The PSE lesson plans that we have with children help children identify unsafe situations and touches, either in the offline world or in the online world. The internet safety aspect, of course, we bring in for adolescents and not really with grade 1 to 4. We help them understand that they can refuse unsafe touches, say no and get away. And we help them identify who can be their helping adults that they can reach out to in an unsafe situation. Most importantly, keep telling till they get the help they need, and know that it's never their fault if something like this has happened or could happen again or in the future. This is just the way our model works. Like I said, there are trainings with parents and teachers, then the lesson plans. And what's really unique about our model, and I haven't heard any other organization in the world doing this, is we have individual sessions with every single child to enable a safe space so that they can disclose any experience of sexual abuse. And we really think this is critical because children will not disclose in a classroom environment, and hence creating a space and privacy is really critical so that we give them the opportunity to share any experience that they'd like to talk about, which is inappropriate or even other emotional concerns. We then, of course, again, do a training session with parents and teachers, while the counseling also goes on for children, intervening to making sure any ongoing abuse comes to a complete stop, psychoeducating the family members so that they are in a better position to protect the child so that no further victimization happens. We do follow up on the reported cases even after we have finished the counseling process for the child, just to make sure the abuse hasn't restarted. The entire model works with a step-up component, which is we go back to these children in 2 to 3 years to repeat the lesson plans, but with age-appropriate pedagogy. All of the pedagogy has been built by Arpan's team and right from scratch, taking inputs from our advisory board and with different kinds of stakeholders, and piloting with thousands of children, testing through monitoring and evaluation to see what the efficacy of the lesson plans is, and then finally translating and putting it together in a training kit in 3 different languages. We try and make sure that every child gets the PSE lesson plans at least thrice in their life cycle of in being in school, right from grade 1 to grade 10. The strengths of the model are, like I shared, it creates safe spaces for disclosure by children. Therapeutic support is provided to all children who disclose instances of any kind of sexual abuse and inappropriate behavior. We do get cases of physical abuse as well, which we also handle. Intervention to ensure abuse is stopped immediately, and the opportunity to work with children who indulge in sexual misbehavior. Of course, training adults is key. Step Up ensures that the retention remains high with age-appropriate knowledge and skills. And we have different formats of lesson plans. We have 4 to 6 lesson plans, which are an hour each, and it's called the comprehensive lesson plans. It's great at building skills as well, along with knowledge. We have an interactive story-based lesson plan as well, which is a 2-hour, 2-lesson plan module. But of course, that we use when schools want to do something more shorter and quicker. As you all can imagine, everybody wants quick fixes. And then, of course, we have the e-learning module, which is a distilled version of our lesson plans that can be done in 40 to 50 minutes for all age groups. Some of the age groups are the modules are getting launched in a couple of weeks, and but we have modules ready for 4 to 6 years and 8 to 13 years. What are the outcomes of the model? So what we've seen is increased knowledge and skills amongst children, teachers, and parents. Disclosures by an average of 7% of children, increased confidence and self-esteem in the children's ability to communicate with their parents. The video also showed some of these statistics of what we found in our evaluations and how effective it is as a model and as content that is working with these age groups of children and caregivers. Knowledge retention has also been high. And then, of course, depending on the age, the gap post implementation and the age, we've seen a variance there. With parents, we've seen, of course, increased awareness. We've had some amazing feedback from parents and how they really believe that this content is really important to conduct with children. They find it necessary and adequate. With teachers, they've spoken about how they are now aware of signs and symptoms. They're able to initiate the critical dialogue between them and the children in a non-threatening manner. And of course, the classrooms have turned into safer environments. And of course, homes have also turned into safer spaces. This is the reach by us and through our partners, 2.5 million children and adults so far. The personal safety education program that we run in over 250 schools, 140,000 children and 110,000 parents and teachers trained so far, with Step Up conducted with 70,000 children and 50,000 parents and teachers. Very, very proud to share that we've handled over 15,000 disclosures of sexual abuse, inappropriate behavior, and other emotional concerns, psychoeducating 3,000 family members over the last 16 years of work that we've been doing. We've trained 200,000 professionals pan-India to replicate personal safety education. And they in turn have trained 1.8 million children and adults. So we're really glad to see how the content and the model is reaching, all parts of the country. I remember a couple of years, we also trained counselors in Bhutan, which has been like our first international training. But what is also exciting is not just training stakeholders in the urban areas, but Arpan is reaching at the block level, reaching the villages in India, so that every child is empowered with personal safety education. And that's our vision. We hope that in the next decade or two, we're able to take personal safety education to every child in India and start also reaching out to children across the world. I'm now going to hand over to Neha to talk about what our learnings have been from the offline that has helped us create our digital content. And we are so glad that we had the digital content in place before COVID struck us, because that helped our work continue even during COVID in the online space without our work stopping at all. I just want to leave you with two stories that have made me always feel motivated about what we do, though there are thousands of stories. One being a 72-year-old grandmother who approached a trainer after a parent session and said, "Hey, can I come back for this training again?" And our trainer asked, "Why would you want to come back again?" And she said, "I want to hear again that it wasn't my fault that it happened to me as a child." And I thought that was so powerful, because not are we empowering them as caregivers, but I think with each adult who's been through abuse themselves, it becomes such a moment of catharsis from them. And to me, this has been a very powerful story of change. And another one where, we have seen a 13-year-old girl with so much resilience actually take steps to make sure and the abuse that she was facing in the family come to a stop, have the courage to come with us to the police station, talk about her experience and report what her father was doing. And the way she would speak with so much confidence, so much clarity that this is what she wanted to do, just left all of us so shocked and pleasantly surprised. And, anytime that I feel sort of demotivated, I think of all these thousands of stories of change and think, wow, the kind of impact that we can make and are making is so powerful that I know that each one of us at Arpan wakes up with that motivation and gets to work every day. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you for sharing such beautiful stories and throwing light on, the crown of our approach, the PSC program, our pride, and Arpan's flagship program. So in the second half of the presentation, what I'll be doing is I'll be taking you through this journey, our journey from moving offline to online. Uh, and the learnings we have, all this way we've learned, what all we've learned and how we implemented. And even as an organization which has experts, it wasn't very easy. It was a difficult journey. There were some roadblocks. We were not very expertise in so-called online world. But still, what stood by us and what made it possible was this bunch of courageous people who wanted to make a change and, who dreamt of going online and made that change possible. So just before we go into details of how it happened, I would like to first talk about a little bit of history as to why we made that shift and why we thought it's important some 5 years back. So we got that pulse, 5 years back, that this will be the thing. This will be the most needed thing in upcoming years. And who knew that, the world will revolve around digital media for at least those 2 years when COVID had stuck us and everything just stopped. And for so many of us, digital world was the reality. We were literally living that. So apart from that user need, what we also thought was important was to standardize our content, to standardize our language, what we speak, how we teach children. So that was important, to scale beyond regions, to scale beyond countries, and talk about this issue and reach to every child in this world. So that was something which really motivated us, and we made this change. And to, of course, take PSC messages to the right stakeholders around the world, be it parents, be it caregivers, be it teachers. We wanted them to initiate conversation with children around them on personal safety. And then when COVID stopped, when everyone was, now suddenly speaking this digital language, we were almost there. Our function, our program did not suffer. It did not get hampered in any which way. Our program was tried and tested on the field. We were almost there. The only thing we did was we just stitched all those video and the course together and mailed it out to our audience and beneficiaries. So we really did not waste time figuring out what to do and how to do. So this is what the history behind us going online really is about. Then what makes this course special? This course is not just a video. It's not just a simple video which you play and then you forget after, a few days. This is a smart course. This is very specific. This is measurable. This is timely. This is very relevant in today's time. And the true writers, if you ask me, of this course are children. This is based on our years of experience of working with children offline, so interactions we've had with them, the kind of questions they ask us, and, the feelings they go through when they study, when they go through a few topics. We have included all of that. And that is really what this course is composed of. It really speaks their language and their mind. And that is one thing which makes this course very, very special. Apart from that, it's free to access. Any one of you around the world, from around the world, can access this course a number of times, again and again. It's very easy to navigate. It's child friendly. It was made in a way that is, it is self-driven, and children can independently take this course. So it's easy that way. It's not very time sensitive. You can complete it as per your own convenience, though we urge our participants to take it in one go. It's a 40 to 50-minute course, but even if you can't, then you can just take a break and complete it on your own convenience. It's interactive and engaging. It's got quizzes, it's got engagement puzzles. So it's very, very interactive that way for children. It can be taken up individually as well as in a group. So you can take it up in a classroom scenario. You can take it up in your house with one child or two children. So it really depends on what the environment is like. It can also be taken up in a group as big as 20 or 30 students in one go. It is very LMS friendly, so it can be integrated on various LMSs. We already have it on a few LMSs. I will be talking about that. So it can easily be put and it can reach to different sections of society that ways, and can be translated into various languages, and also can be adapted into the local context. So we already have this course in 2 international languages, in Spanish and Filipino. And we are also translating this course into 9 regional Indian languages. Out of 9, 3 are almost on the verge of completion. So that is which really makes this course, our digital e-learn, really special. Now, throughout this journey, there were certain crossroads, and we had challenges. And when we are doing it offline, we are there, the trainers are there, children ask questions, we know how to answer and how to really, kind of connect with them. But this space was online, and there was no trainer specifically present. So of course, we had our set of apprehensions and challenges, and I will be discussing a few of those challenges, which even, some of you might face while talking to children about safety, and how we kind of overcome and mitigated those challenges. So the first one was, where should we start from? Like, what should be the starting point? There's so much to say in this course. And thus we decided to be as straightforward as possible. So if you just look at the course and visit the course, and you look at the introduction video, that video in itself talks about the objective of the courses, what all does the course consists of, and what are the outcomes, how will it enable children, and in what ways will it enable children. So the answer was to be very, very straightforward and directly talk about what we are going to be discussing in this course. The second challenge was, what should be program's essence? What should be like that core thing, which is like the highlight, the X factor of the course. And that was our golden rules, or the golden guidelines. So like we have 3 golden rules, and it's up there on the screen. You can read them. One is, it's never all right for someone to touch, look at, or talk about our private parts. And if someone does that, the child should say, no, get away, and then immediately go and tell someone trusted, someone helpful. So these are like our golden rules, and this is like the crux of the digital learning course. Then, how can we communicate in simple way? This course, talking about sexual abuse, safe, unsafe, is not easy, and can be very confusing. So how should we communicate? So the best way was that this course is based up on a spiral model. This works on a spiral model. We understand that every child has some kind of existing knowledge. This could be because of their experiences, could be because of their surroundings, or they've read, heard, something or the other is there, right? So we try and build on that existing knowledge. So the crux, the core of the program does not change, but what changes is the language and the methodology, right? So the language changes, we try to make it as age appropriate as possible, and methodology changes with age. For instance, for younger ones, like 4 to 7 years old, we have a nice colorful flip book. For 8 to 13 years, we have an interactive course with animated videos. For ages above that, we have real life characters acting in the course. We are yet to launch that course, but it's almost there. So we've tried to keep the essence, yet change the methodology and the language with which we approach the course. Will the children be able to rationalize? Will they understand what we are trying to say? Yes, if you give them appropriate answers, they will. So, for instance, this is a screenshot of the course where we are trying to say that if you are in an unsafe situation, just say no and get away. But children can have different thoughts, and these are real thoughts which children discussed, and they came in the classroom discussions, like can I punch that man, or can I pinch, can I bite, can I push? But the simple answer is no, because that person might be powerful and can physically harm you. So we've tried to make it interactive. We've tried to portray what a child can think, and then our anchor gives them appropriate and rationalized answers. Will the children be able to connect and relate? Well, yes, if you use real life examples, if you use examples from their daily life. For instance, you see boys teasing each other about private parts, a boy touching a girl's private part. All these happen. They are part of our reality. Children do see, and some of them also experience. So we've tried and picked up situations and examples which are very, very real to them. Will it be embarrassing? Because in classroom, we definitely face this. Children giggle, children laugh, they shy away when we use the word private parts, and they look at each other and then they exchange that eye contact. Of course, yes, and we addressed it, that it's okay to feel shy, it's okay to laugh, but what is not okay is to tease others about private parts, right? So this is how we've addressed this issue. Will it trigger? What if it triggers the child? What if the child feels overwhelmed? Now, this was a very, very important point, and we really wanted to focus on this. And that's why we've come up with a 5-minute facilitators course. This course is all about, this is for teachers, parents, caregivers, whoever is with the child and is taking the course, this is for them. And in 5 minutes, it talks about what are the outcome of the courses, how one should actually take the course, what's the ideal way, and what if the child feels overwhelmed or is triggered, what to do, how to handle disclosures. And it also gives links to other resources which parents can go through and, make the child feel calm and comfortable. How do we check its efficacy? How do we know whether the course is working or not? Well, we have a lot of exercises and quizzes. So after each concept, we have some or the other exercise or a quiz through which we check whether the course is working or not. All this data is collected and our backend analytics work. And that's how we get to know that, this course is fulfilling its objective or not. Also, we do a lot of long-term evaluations as well. And all our evaluations guide us. So we take up, like in every 2 years, we plan to revise the course and, make relevant changes to the course so that it works in the best of its capacity. This is how the course really looks like. Currently, we have the course in 3 languages, English, Hindi, Marathi, and Spanish and Filipino as well. This course is been approved by the Ministry of Education, and it's there on their national teacher training portal called the Diksha portal. These are some courses for children, like for 4 to 7, we have a colorful My Safety book. It's a flip book, and very, very soon we will be launching a video which is based on this flip book. It's an animated video. Then for 8 to 10 years and 11 to 13 years, we have course, which one of them I will just give you a glimpse of. And then for adolescents, because it's such a, sensitive phase, and sometimes adolescents don't feel very comfortable asking questions. Sometimes they ask, but as an adult, we are not very comfortable giving them answers. So for that, we have FAQ for adolescents, and which has answers to almost all their queries. So that is again a resource which is available online. This is for adults. So facilitators course I've already spoken about. Then we have caregivers manual, and we also have a FAQ booklet. Both of these has parenting tips. It has more knowledge about the issue of child sexual abuse, its impact, how to handle disclosure, and overall, sometimes there are questions and which even teachers and as parents, we have, but we are unable to ask. So we've kind of compiled all these questions, and it's there in the FAQ book. So these are two very, very good resources for adults to go through and to learn something new from. So let's quickly look at the course. I will just share the course. Okay, so let me just check the sound. Yes, this is how our website really looks like. It's called it's the arpan-elearn.com. So if you go, we have something for the students. We have courses for the students, like I mentioned, FAQ for adolescents. Then we have courses for adults. Right? So let me take you through this course for students, 8 to 10 years old, English. You click on the language and you start the course. As soon as the course starts, on the left-hand side, you see table of contents. Here, all the topics are listed, which are there in the course. And the idea is to take all the topics in the order they are listed in. There is a video to explain the concept. And then just after that video, there is one exercise to make sure that kids have got the concept clearly, right? And they have understood. So let me just play introduction for a few seconds.
Hi, my name is Chisa, and I will be your guide in this course. I want you to imagine that you are here at the start of the personal safety course, and all the way over here is when we will finish this course. Along the way, we will learn about parts of our body, including those parts that we cover with undergarments. We will also learn about safe touches and unsafe touches. And finally, how children just like you can learn to stay safe and how you can ask for help if you ever feel unsafe.
So this is how it is. Then, for instance, this is one exercise. So we give situations and we ask children whether it's safe or unsafe. So for instance, if I say, if I click on guess, submit the answer, I get a pop-up box which gives me rationale as to why this answer is correct. I continue and say I click on incorrect answer. Again, this comes up and says it's incorrect and gives me the rationale. So at every point of time, the child is learning. We have different videos. For instance, this is one video on say no and get away. Just play that.
So thus far, we have learnt about the safety rule that you can use to keep yourself safe. Let's start with reminding ourselves of the safety rule. It is never all right for someone to touch, look at, or talk about our private body parts except to keep us clean and healthy. What if someone breaks this rule? Well, if someone breaks this rule, you can say no to them and get away from there. Remember, you can say no and get away from there. When we told this to Neha and Amir, they had a lot of questions. Here they are.
Saying no will not work, Chisa. Not at all.
Saying no has a good chance of working, Amir, because the other person will realize that you know what is all right and what is not all right.
If someone breaks my safety rule, I will kick that person, maybe even bite him. If there is a stone next to me, I will hit him with that, or I will punch him.
I understand your response, Neha.
So that's how it goes on, and then finally we have a summary song. It's a nice, cute song which revises all the safety.
Congratulations!
And yeah, that's about it. That finishes the course. At last, we just ask one question about them, about who is taking the course. So let me go back to the presentation. Yes. So where does the success lies? The success lies in millions of people who have taken the course. This course has reached to 165,000 children and adults from all over the world. There is a 30% completion rate. That means 30% of the participants who have taken the course have completed the course, which is a very good percentage because usually all the online courses have a 10% completion rate. So we stand fairly at a decent place there. 90% of them have given the correct answers. We have partnered with external organizations to run our LMSs. And monitoring and evaluation systems really help us to, build on this course and improve it even further. So there, and it's adaptable. It can be changed, right, very easily. So we are almost there, and we continuously work towards revising our content and just to make it more relevant year on year. This slide represents and showcases how many of us around the world have taken the course and various countries where this course has been taken. And this data is very, special. Why is it special? Because really we've not put in any special efforts to promote this course worldwide. This data is very much organic. And the number seem very small, 150, around 150 from Germany, some 3,000 from US, but to us, it's very, very special. And we really hope this grows multifold after, in a few years' time. Very happy to show you two teasers. These are two upcoming courses. One, I spoke about the video on the personal safety book, My Safety book. This is called the personal safety. It's like a personal safety video, we'll be calling it, for 4 to 7 years old. And then we have a series, a personal safety series for 14 to 18. And what makes this series really special is that we have real life characters and situations. It's very interactive, engaging for adolescents. So hope this, our beneficiaries really like it. But I'll just play the two teasers for you very quickly.
Hello kids, my name is Tara and today I'm going to take you into the colorful world of Tia and Sid. Tia and Sid are special. You are special too. Sid and Tia are happy and safe in their little world by following these safety rules. We hope this video supports you to play your part in protecting children from sexual abuse.
The other one now.
We are working towards creating a world free from child sexual abuse. First, in Sexual Abuse Online, we will watch Aparna's story in which she meets someone online. Next is Joanne's story about safety in relationships. Watch this one to understand how you can maintain your personal boundaries and identify unsafe relationships. You will also learn about the law that supports children in cases of sexual abuse. In Actions to Take, Arun learns how to say no. You will understand how to respond when you find yourself in an unsafe situation. In Helpful Adults, Anshul seeks help from his aunt when he is abused by a family member.
So those were two teasers of the courses which are upcoming. And what can you do? Well, you can take the course with children around you to make a difference at www.arpanelearn.com. You can know more about the issue. You can understand how Arpan works, how our team functions, what are our various programs, Everything is there on the website. You can go through various evaluation studies that we have been a part of, and also our annual reports at www.arpan.org.in. And you can also get trained on personal safety. This training is open for everyone, parents, teachers, mental health professionals, pediatricians. And the good part is that we also take this training online. So you can connect with us and we'll be really happy to train you. This training is basically a very holistic, gives a very holistic understanding of the issue. We talk about CSA, its impact, its forms, then we move to personal safety, and then we talk about handling disclosure in detail. All these trainings, we have specific modules, like we have something for the counselors as well. We have a basic counseling training, then we have an advanced counseling training, and all of them basically, are made in a way that they enable skills. They build some skills to anyone who's taking them so that they are able to protect and, really take care of children around them. You can write to us for trainings at info@arpan.com. That's our helpline number. For any kind of helpline counseling related issues, you can write at support@arpan.org.in. We are available. We are there on various social media handles like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can follow us for regular updates. We post almost every day. We post content on child sexual abuse. And if you're really interested in these upcoming courses also, so we'll be posting on our social media handles regularly about the courses, so you can follow us there as well. With this, I end my presentation, and it's been lovely to speak in front of you from all over the world. And now we can open the dais for question and answers.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Pooja. I hope both of you have been watching the chat and watching the interactions. It's been really unbelievable, to be honest with you, the amount of engagement that we have had during this session. I know, Pooja, you've been answering some of the questions in the actual Q&A. We may want to do some of those out loud as well.
Yes.
But prior to going into our open dialogue, we've heard from Neha, we've heard from Pooja. I think we're all blown away and overwhelmed and just amazed at the resources and how age specific they are, how detailed they are, how the child-centered resources supplement those for caregivers. And you even, with the frequently asked question guide, I mean, it is just such a comprehensive package. So before we kind of go into, the actual open Q&A, if you want to scan this barcode again, this is a different barcode. Pooja and Neha wanted to know a little bit about what you're thinking post-presentation before we, go into an open session. So if you want to scan the barcode again, all our participants. And the first question that they would really like to know, and I know everyone has questions and has not had a chance to look at all of these age-appropriate resources, but just kind of a feel, like what age or what resource do you believe, age-specific resource, do you think will be the most useful to you? This is for our audience members to participate in. Well, the most telling thing as we watch the poll continue is that every resource brings value, and it's amazing how all of these age groups are vulnerable in their own way and need support in their own way for, to protect their personal safety. And I love to see that there's not one answer. There's not one age group that that Arpan will bring value to. It is really across the spectrum. And I did see in the Q&A, there was also quite a bit of age-specific questions, resource questions. And then we just have one more for the audience. And these are just short answers. If you could briefly tell us, because I know you're typing on your phone, but what challenges do you think you might face while talking to children and adolescents about their personal safety? And I'm sure there are many, obviously. This is a delicate subject, it's a difficult subject. But Pooja and Neha, I kind of wanted to know what you're thinking at this point. What have your obstacles been? So instilling fear, them thinking the situation is normal, especially if it's all they've ever known. The child's embarrassed. And when you work with disabled children and nonverbal children, that is a whole different vulnerable category that is devastating. Getting the trust, their security, what happens post-disclosure. And I think, again, your resources are very good about helping that process. Social norms, again, not talking about nudity or sex or the romantic relationship dynamic that the student may feel in an inappropriate relationship. They have shame, fear. They don't want to be stigmatized. It's interesting. So as I mentioned earlier, the more a question or an answer is repeated, the larger the font, and how tragic that many of them thinking the situation is normal. So Neha and Pooja, anything jumping out to you with these responses that you'd like to comment on?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I think it's nothing out of the box. I think these are challenges that we face across the world. I think in all countries. So, I completely understand these challenges. We've had them too in the beginning. And there was one of the questions that I answered on Q&A about, how do you convince parents? And I think that's been a common question, that how do you convince parents that this is appropriate? And 15 years ago, in every parents training, we would have some parents who would say, oh, my child is too young. Do you think this is really necessary? And we would rationalize and say, yes, it is, because sexual abuse is happening with young children as well. And if we don't empower them, they will become victims of sexual abuse. 15 years later, now when we go and do parents training sessions, we don't have to convince any parent. So if any parent comes up with a concern, there are another group of parents who rationalize with the parents. So it's no longer Arpan having to rationalize, it's the parent community themselves convincing other parents why this program is important. And so I think it's just that we have to plow our way, yeah? There is no path. The path has to be created by us, and any kind of behavioral change work, any kind of attitudinal change work takes time, and we just need to keep reiterating and keep persuading and keep rationalizing, and I know change will happen. It does. So we can move on to answering all the other questions. There are loads of questions on the chat and Q&A. And so Neha and I can sort of jump into those. There were some common questions on, teachers are afraid to talk about sex education or personal safety. And how does one handle that? And like I shared, just like with parents, even with teachers, those inhibitions need to be broken. They need to be encouraged. One of the things that we do is after teacher training, those teachers who go ahead and implement personal safety education programs, they're so excited and motivated. They create videos of them doing lesson plans in that small little school in that village. And then we share that video with all the others that, look, hey, she's gone or he's gone and implemented it in the classroom and with no inhibitions. So we can all do it. And it's just about us having that little bit of confidence to go do it ourselves. And then children get it. And I think teachers get motivated by seeing the response from the children as well. They absolutely do get it. So it's wonderful to see how implementation is happening. We just need to be at it. Yeah. You're right. So Demur, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, behavior change takes time. Awareness campaigns, yeah, are sufficient. We really believe training is really critical, and repeated training is critical. Also sharing content in a repeated manner, because it needs to stick. We all can then, sort of forget. So, which is why our program also talks about the step up. So you go back in 2 to 3 years. Ideally, once a school institutionalizes it, they are doing PSE every year. Because we have a resource crunch, we go every 2 to 3 years to repeat personal safety education with age-appropriate pedagogy. So that is how you sustain it. It needs to become a part of curriculum. And that's the work Arpan's doing at the state and national level, integrating it in curriculum. And at the national level, it's happened in one of the large-scale programs. And in states in Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh, we've been able to do it. And we're working with some other states as well. So systemic change, curriculum integration is important. Have we been able to create content for disabled children as yet? No. We have done some teacher training, and they've been able to take the content and implement it with the children that they work with. But yes, we do want to create content for different demographies. And at some point, I'm sure we're going to take this up and focus on it. Loads of work to be done. It's 17, 16 years, but we still feel there's such a long way to go. So yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done.
I saw a question about talking about healthy relationships in your courses. I know you talked about what's inappropriate. But
Neha, do you want to take that?
Yes, we do talk about healthy and harmful relationships, and there is a certain age when we introduce, that is around when the child is in grade 7, because that's the time when they're hitting puberty and now looking for relationships or get into relationships. So that's where we talk, and we introduce them that what is actually a healthy relationship and what is a harmful relationship, and through that we then connect safe, unsafe, and so on. So everything is not possible to be taught to all children and to all grades, so we've divided the content in such a way. So what I showed you was for 8 to 10 years old, and in later when the child is around 12, 13 years old, then we talk about relationships.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There's a question whether we work with child sexual abusers. Then actually 2-3 people have asked that. So we work with young offenders, children in conflict with law in an institutional setup. We also address children who demonstrate sexual misbehavior in the school setup. We've actually worked with a number of children over the last so many years and provided therapeutic support so that they don't indulge in that misbehavior again. We don't work with adult offenders as yet. Maybe in the future we will, but for the moment we have lots of work to do. But that's our focus.
Along that line, Pooja, there was a question about working with adolescents who are demonstrating bad sexual behavior. Like, do you follow up after they've been through the program? Do you track at all whether there is a reoffending rate that is dramatically different? Or
so through the step up model, when we go back in 2 to 3 years, we again see where that is. Yeah, so that's how we sort of do a check both on victims as well as those who are indulging.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm going through the Q&A right now as well.
Yeah.
There's a question about how supportive the government has been with your work.
It's been actually a fantastic experience is what I would say. I think the Indian government, both at the state and national level, has been very forthcoming. They recognize the need to work on the issue. I'm so glad to share that our curriculum has got integrated in the first ever national life skills curriculum, the school health and wellness program, which is now being implemented by the Ministry of Health and Education in 34 states across the country. As I speak, content is going to become a part of the new national education policy as well, the curriculum that is going to get rolled out. So we've tried to make sure child sexual abuse gets addressed in the new national education policy. So it's a part of the framework now, which is very, very exciting. And we look forward to working with NCERT to develop the curriculum for teacher training as well as for, the children, and it becoming a part of textbook curriculum. So I would say it's been a fantastic experience, and we look forward to working with more and more states over the next few years. India is a huge country. Some of our states are as big as 2-3 countries combined with the kind of population we have. So the reach is huge, and we're quite determined to keep at it.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal that the support that you're getting and that it's becoming a solid part of the curricula and authorized part of the curricula. That is really powerful.
Yeah.
Just want to
Those
add
who
that
left their email IDs, we are taking a note of them. I've taken screenshots. We'll
Okay.
definitely connect with you after this webinar. And if you'd like to take anything, any training, or if you want any help with accessing our resources, we'll be very happy to do that.
You also have had multiple offers to translate the material. What are your plans for multiple languages?
Well, right now the focus has been translating the content into more Indian regional languages, but soon we would love to have our content translated into international languages as well. So definitely we would love to work together with some of you to be able to do that. That would be really nice.
And there has been an amazing request as well for how people can get a hold of you. And I know in our follow-up email that we'll have some contact information. Do you want to provide that in a way where if it's a particular resource who that inquiry would go to versus more of a general, we'd like to help you translate, or because I do feel like you will have a tremendous response and your reach will grow substantially after this webinar.
Yes, absolutely. We'll send our contact information again as well. I think some of our team members are pasting it over here on the chat. So for trainings, you can write to info@arpan.org.in to access our resources. They are free of cost, so you can access it on arpanelearn.com. But you can reach out to any of us through our info ID, and we'll be very happy to work together or to support you or to conduct trainings. Like Neha shared, we have trainings for counselors, teachers, all kinds of stakeholders, and it would be great to work together for sure.
And I do see a question. I know that there are guidelines on how to, once child sexual abuse is disclosed, some guidelines on how to involve the disciplines that would then, either prosecute or support or treat, or, but there's a specific question about, do you assist to report to police in mandatory reporting requirements? And
so we really work with the child and the family to see what they want to do. And we leave it to them to decide whether they want to report or not, because it has such life-changing implications that it only seems right that they take that decision. And there's no point going and reporting and the child and the family turning hostile at that point of time. So it's really their call to do the reporting. We tell them about the law, we tell them about the process, we tell them that we're more than happy to support you in the legal redressal system, but the decision needs to be theirs.
And then I'm sure you've heard this question multiple times, throughout this whole process of creating these resources, but, is there hesitancy for parents to begin the conversation about private parts and about, a child's physical development because a parent is concerned that it'll increase the curiosity and maybe encourage problematic behavior? Or how do you work parents through that fear?
Research shows that if you give correct and factual information to children, their tendency to experiment is actually lesser. So, I think we tend to assume that if we don't tell them, they don't know. But the reality is children pick up all of this information so quickly, right, Neha? And at such a young age. Do you want to sort of chime in here?
Yeah, and we have this kind of assumption in our head, okay, there is some XYZ right age where I should be talking to my child about child safety or, about private parts. But actually, there's no right age, and it's best that if you can start as young as possible, say as 4 years, when the child is able to understand language and can comprehend. and teach them, say, location of private parts or names of private parts. And then the whole thing around, that it's a shameful thing or it's a topic of embarrassment, that will never hit the child, because the child will learn private parts like any other body parts, So all this embarrassment, guilt, shame will actually stay away from the child. And just one more thing, because we are so many of us from around the world, we really urge that please don't say good touch and bad touch. What happens is the moment you say good and bad, the child internalizes with that bad word and, might think that I am bad, I am a bad boy, or I am a bad girl, or the parts which are touched are bad, So please refrain yourselves from using these terminologies and say safe and unsafe. It's more clear, it's more objective, and it even the child gets them easily. So yeah, there's that point.
And that's a great terminology clarification. Anytime you connect bad to something, the child may have personal blame or shame because it is bad.
There is a question on if a child is sexually abused and not expressed in front of anyone, how to identify that. Neha, would you like to, take that as well? It's a good question.
Yeah, it takes time. We've seen that even when children speak to us, and when they disclose, they might not disclose the whole incident in one go. It takes time. And what is important is to listen to them and to give them space to talk. We generally tend to jump to conclusions, and as adults we want to kind of judge and conclude what the child wants to say or is feeling, but that's not the correct way. Give child space to talk, give child space, don't negate their feelings, understand and truly empathize with the child, right? And don't make any faulty promises, don't make any fake promises which you think you will regret or you will break, because already the child's trust is broken, the child is feeling betrayed, and if you do the same thing, then it's even going to hamper the child more. So listen, give space, and they will open up, right? Give them that. There's no set time that, okay, you have to disclose in this one meeting. No, just give them space to talk about it. And then don't judge, don't blame the child instantly, because the moment you do that, the child is observing you, as a listener, and then they might just take their words back and say, okay, nothing has happened. So yeah.
Perfect.
And for us at Arpan, the child centricity is critical. And like I shared earlier as well, even if it takes us 2 to 3 counseling sessions to rationalize with the child of why we need to tell either of the parents or a family member of what has happened, we spend that time just so that the child feels secure, is able to trust us, because we wouldn't want to betray the trust of the child. That's the last thing, because anyway, in any case, the child is traumatized. And on top of that, if we betray the child again, it's like another kind of betrayal, right? A double betrayal. And that's the last thing we would want to do. So we're very careful about, making sure the child is in the center of all decision making, of all the steps that we take. The child is aware of what's going to happen. We don't do anything without not letting the child know about it. So without talking to them. So we make sure that, that happens, because that's really, really critical. And it matters to them, and we can see the impact on children. So it's important to be sensitive to that.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's a question on vocabulary. Yes, we do give them the vocabulary to talk about instances of abuse. And that is the whole reason why the emphasis on talking about private parts and identifying where the private parts are, which are the private parts, so that children develop the vocabulary to talk about it to their helping adult of what could be happening to them as a child. And hence that vocabulary building is important. according to one of the studies that happened in India 11 years ago, most children didn't report about experiences of sexual abuse because they didn't have the vocabulary to do so. And hence the program focuses on building that vocabulary. It is really, really critical.
And the vocabulary gives them power, sometimes in powerless situations, right? Like, especially that 4 to 7-year-old age group. They don't have the words sometimes, to protect themselves. And I think that vocabulary that you give them, so age specific, it gives them power in situations that they wouldn't have it otherwise.
Very true. And I think, like Neha was saying earlier, if you start at a young age, you normalize these conversations. The fact is, we don't talk about private parts. So, when children are 2 years or 3 years, we start teaching them what are eyes, nose, lips, neck, chest. Then we skip the entire genital area and go straight to the legs and feet, right? And believe you me, the children are getting it that, oh, that also part has a name. So why isn't my penis or vagina being given a name and not taught to me? So is it something we're not supposed to speak about? That very moment we start building in the shame or the taboo and the silence around private parts, because we've skipped those names. And so the children think that, oh, we're not supposed to talk about it. And hence disclosures don't happen. But if at a very young age, we've started these conversations, and, one of the questions is, do we formally sit and do it? Or do we, do it during a chill moment? Do it whenever you think you feel comfortable to do it. And, and in the most easiest manner that we do it, that is what the child's going to pick up, that, oh, this is something simple and normal to talk about. And that's how it should be, ideally. During the course, told that uncles, aunts also, yes, we cover incest as well. So we have lots of examples and stories in the curriculum where a family member or a neighbor or a teacher could be the abuser. So we do give a variety of examples so that children understand it could really be anybody, right? I think an earlier comment was on how there's so much emphasis on stranger danger, but not on incest. And Arpan is one organization that loudly talks about incest, right? Because what's happening in our homes is not being spoken about openly. And we believe that's absolutely critical to do so. Otherwise, millions of children will suffer quietly, and that's just not acceptable. So yes, incest is very, very critical, and it's really important to do that.
Pusha, do you identify, I know you talk a lot about know and walk away, which is, again, it gives them action, it gives them language. Do you ever ask in the program that kids identify a trusted adult, that if they find themselves in a dangerous situation or a unhealthy situation, that they can identify a trusted adult that would be someone that they could turn to? Do they, in some programs, I know in the US, you teach children in other situations, whether it's substance, access to substance abuse or drugs, or to find a trusted adult that ahead of time, that if you ever needed for any of these areas of personal danger, that that you could go to.
I think our classroom experience is that they are able to, right, Neha? I think children are able to identify a number of helping and trusted adults. And I want to talk about, like some really cute experience as well. Like, with these little children, like grade 1 to grade 4, like when you first ask them about who is your helping adult, the first response would probably be, oh, Superman or Spider-Man or Doraemon. And then we're like, okay, have you met them ever before? No. Have they ever come and helped you in some other situation? No. All right. So who is nearby? Who is it that you can go to immediately for help? And then, it's that rationalization process that is so critical to help them identify who their trusted adult is. And then the children say, oh, I think I'll go and tell my mother. Oh, I'll tell my father. Oh, I'll tell my grandmother. And, just taking them through that process of helping them identify who their helping adults is powerful. And I think once they get it, like our evaluations showed us, the help-seeking behavior is very, very predominant, which is, really the crux and the most important thing, especially for young children, that they just seek help and report to an adult that they can get help from. There's a question on how do we work in the community children. Well, we train social workers. So we've trained, I think, some over 500 organizations in the last couple of years. So we've trained a number of social workers to work in the community with respect to child sexual abuse, again, covering basic aspects of how do we respond appropriately, how can we empower them with personal safety education. So that has been a tough thing. There's a question on transgender. Well, we work with all children. So it's not that there's anything specific created for any particular gender. We work with all children, and the personal safety rules remain the same for all. For children, the main thing is get away and seek help, no matter what gender you are. How do parents respond to counseling? Parents sometimes don't understand what that counseling process is, and they wonder what's going on. But when we explain to them what the objective of counseling is and how healing can happen, and that at a young age, we can focus on reducing the impact of sexual abuse, they get it. And I think it's been a great experience. Yes, there have been some challenges as well. In some cases, in very few though, parents said, no, we don't want counseling for our children. And then of course we didn't force it. But in most cases, we are able to do counseling and work with the child and the family member or the parent. I think once we are able to rationalize with them, they get it. And thanks to COVID, what has happened is a lot of focus on mental health has come about because COVID, sort of really amplified the conversations on well-being and mental health. A lot of people now understand the need and understand that wellness has a component of mental well-being and emotional well-being. And so I think it's become a bit more easier to have those conversations than before. So it's been a great experience, and I can't tell you how powerful therapy is. And then when parents see the impact, I think they themselves understand that, oh, this is really powerful. We use arts-based therapy in our therapeutic work. We use EMDR a lot. EMDR is eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which is a trauma processing technique, and it works like magic with children. Like they just respond to it so quickly, and one can in a few sessions see the sadness, the anger, the shame, the guilt, the fear, the pain reduce in children and in adult survivors, and you can see them thriving, beginning to thrive. And that's just phenomenal to see. Of course, we use TFCBT and other techniques as well, but Arpan's focus is a lot on EMDR as a trauma processing technique that we use. Our counselors are trained in EMDR, and we spend a lot of time training our counselors so that appropriate therapeutic services are provided to children and adults both.
Perfect. Well, I know, Pooja and Neha, it's getting very late in India. So and we have, kind of come towards the end of the session. Is there any last minute things that you would like to add?
Neha, would you like to add anything? And then I can go.
No, just that we hope that this was useful, and I've been following the chat and, kind of understanding how a lot of you are feeling right now. But we really hope that, in upcoming years, we are able to reach to all the children around the world, and hope to partner with a lot of you who are present here. I think that is one thing which we are really looking forward to, be it translating our content or be it sharing our resources. We'll be really happy, and even training some of you. So looking forward for that engagement. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are working with children in any capacity, please do focus on preventing child sexual abuse. Yes, all forms of abuse and neglect, all forms of violence. But we have found practitioners feeling more comfortable talking about other things, but not so much about sexual abuse. But please do focus on that. We'll be very happy to support you in any way that we can with resources, with trainings, and look forward to working together. Really, it's only together that we can create a world free from child sexual abuse. Arpan can't do it alone. Any of us actually can't do it alone. So with the help of all of you, we can actually all work towards creating trauma-free childhoods for our children. Thank you so much for today. Thank you so much, Jane, Holly, Pragati, all at ISPCAN for making this happen. And for all of you who've been here, wonderful.
Pooja, Neha, I can't tell you how amazing this session has been. First of all, the engagement with the participants, the amount of registrations that we had, which topped almost 900, who will receive the webinar
Wow, really?
recording. Yes, we were at 889 when I last looked prior to starting.
My
So
God, that's amazing.
it's the most powerful presentation we've ever had. And
Wow.
so the reach of Arpan you will definitely feel it post session. I want to remind everyone, because it's been asked a few times, hopefully we've communicated it clearly, but everyone who registered, not even those who, were just online, but everyone who registered will receive Neha and Pooja's presentation slides, any contact information and follow-up information that they send over for me to include, the links to the resources and the website pages, a full recording from today's session. Obviously, all participants will have a certificate of attendance as well. But in an environment of limited resources, high burnout, limited financial resources, as well as actual, personnel, for you to be so gracious to take these incredible tools that you have created that span multiple age groups and allow them open access, and to be willing to provide training for the use of the resources, to be open for language translations. I mean, the impact that Arpan can have in the entire globe in the area of child sexual abuse is going to be felt. It will be very powerful. And again, thank you for the work that you did to create these amazing tools, and mostly to make them available to all of us. A couple of things just in regards to ISPCAN. I know our webinars are always free and open access to anyone. You do not need to be an ISPCAN member. If you choose to engage us at a membership level, we'll include that in the follow-up email, but we have many different tiers, the lowest starting at $35, which, that we have some incredible things starting in 2023. I won't go through each one, but you can see them on the slide. We're opening up Edinburgh for abstracts. That abstract process, I believe, just has another week or so left on it. So we're having an in-person Congress in September that we would love for many of you to present abstracts to, including Pooja and Neha. We would love for them to present at Edinburgh as well. But that abstract process is closing in a week or so. So please go to our website for that. We're kicking off a year-long global mental health campaign, which, again, this is a part of really this process as well. We are opening up a new open access journal. Our world-renowned journal is membership only for ISPCAN, but we are creating an open access journal that will be run by ISPCAN with partnership with Elsevier, and this will be a practice-based journal. So that should be kicked off in late summer, early fall. And then we are also rolling out a new engagement system similar to a listserv for ISPCAN members to connect and to network and to share resources. So if you're not an ISPCAN member, we would love to have you join us. We'll send some follow-up information, but again, it's also on our website. But most importantly, I really just wanted to offer our just most sincere thank you to Arpan, to Pooja, to Neha, to your entire team who's been wonderful to work with during this process. And again, we look for great things in what we can do together.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to more such experiences. We'll be happy to share more of our learnings along the journey. A lot of our research and evaluations is something that we can share as well in the coming months or years. So whenever you have the time, and if people are interested, we would love to engage again. Thank you once again for inviting us, Jane and Holly and Pragati and all at ISPCAN. It was wonderful to be here, and we're happy to be a country partner to ISPCAN and look forward to more such engagements.
It's an honor to partner with both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
for
you.
having me.
Good night to many of our participants. Good night to Usha and Neha.
Yeah, good night and good morning to some, and good afternoon and good evening to some. Bye-bye.
All right,
Thank you
goodbye,
so much.
everyone. Take care. Stay
Goodbye.
safe and well.
Bye-bye.